Hello and good day. I am Coach Jay. That rhymes. I always start my classes with a little corny dad joke. And so today's is this. Why do people take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing? Well, in case they get a hole in one. Ba-dum-bum. All right. Today I'm going to be talking about ways to circle back after conflict. So I say often, it's not necessarily what you argue about that's important. It's not how many times you argue, not how many times you argue about the same thing that's important. It's A, how you argue, and B, how you prioritize circling back after the conflict. So many times there's a lot of hurtful things that are said during an argument, and that never gets addressed, and then it gets swept under the carpet. And all that does is buy time for the next argument. It doesn't heal anything. So I just wanted to run down a few quick things of ways to circle back after any kind of conflict with anyone, and hopefully put some tools in your toolbox. Okay. Number one, after a conflict, after an argument, you can't pretend it didn't happen. You know, especially this happens with a lot of couples. It's like they argue. Oh, let's kiss, have sex, make up, and go on with our day. No, you can't pretend the argument didn't happen. And now you can put off talking about it if you want, but you really do need to come back and have, even if it's a brief discussion about it. So number one, you can't pretend it didn't happen. Number two, you need to get to the root of the problem. So for instance, did it really bother you when they didn't put their cup in the sink? Is that what really bothered you? Or was it what bothered you was for years you've been asking them, when you eat, when you drink, please put your cup in the sink. And because they didn't put their cup in the sink, you feel disrespected. So is the argument you feel disrespected, or is it you didn't put your cup in the sink? Because when you go to talk about this afterwards, it's much easier to say, I felt disrespected when you A, B, and C. And then somebody can say, well, geez, I don't want to make you feel disrespected. That's not my intention. As opposed to saying, well, you know, I got mad because you didn't put a cup in the sink. And they're like, well, who cares? It's just a cup. It takes 2 seconds. Okay, here, I did it. It goes a long way to get to the root of the problem. I felt disrespected. Now, when you're in a post-conflict discussion, reflect on the argument, but don't overthink. So reflect on what was said, maybe what was hurtful, so that way you can bring it up. But don't overthink, because overthinking has a tendency to take us on a long ride that we don't have any business going on. And then we start to attach our own filters with that. So, you know, oh, he must have said this because he must disrespect me, or she must have said that because, you know, she must think her crap don't stink and blah, blah. No, so reflect, don't obsess. The next thing is think about your foundation when you're talking. So for instance, if this is a relationship that, you know, you could care less about or you're not invested in, that's going to be a whole completely different discussion rather than a relationship where both of you have the same, you know, you're together because you have similar virtues, similar morals, similar plans in life, similar goals, maybe a similar spiritual belief. So really think about the foundation of the relationship, and you know, is this a relationship that's worth investing in, worth fighting? And if it is, you're going to approach the discussion table differently than, you know, say somebody else that doesn't have that investment worthy in it. Make sure when you are in a post-conflict discussion, you are listening to understand, not listening to respond. How many times have you been talking to somebody in life and the whole time they're talking, they're going like this? And it's like, are you even listening to me? Or are you just, do you want to say something to me? Because I don't even feel like you're listening to me. So make sure you're listening to understand, not listening to respond. And if there's a problem in this area, I have what's called the 1 or 2 minute technique. So what you do is when one person says something, the other person can't even respond unless 2 minutes goes by. So you actually set a timer. So when somebody says, I was hurt because you didn't put your dishes in the sink, and I've been asking you for 4 years now. I'm dealing with kids. I'm dealing with my job. I'm dealing with homework. I'm dealing with all this other stuff. Please help me out by putting your dishes in the sink. When you put your dishes in the sink, I feel as if, you know what, I got a teammate in life because they're trying to meet me halfway and help share the load. So please put your dish in the sink. Then you set a timer and the other person can't even respond for 2 minutes. And that way you're just not going to get a jumpy, spotty respond of, why are you always jumping down my back? And blah, blah. Now somebody has 2 minutes to calmly think about what was said and say, you know what, I hear you. I hear you. And I could see where me not putting the cup in the sink is like the straw on the camel's back. I get it now because you've had time to think about it. Make sure you're acknowledging what the person said. Make sure you're validating what the person said. You don't have to like it, love it, agree with it, but can you respect? Can you acknowledge? Can you validate what they said? A lot of times arguments happen because people simply don't feel heard. People just want to feel heard. That's oftentimes 90% of getting over conflict. Make sure when two people are coming into a post-conflict discussion, the mindset is we are going to come together and attack a problem. We are not going to have the problem and take the problem and attack each other. So make sure that's the mindset. Make sure that you speak respectfully, directly. There's no threatening with this. There's no violence. It's just a respectful conversation. Make sure when you do talk about the post-conflict argument, it's at a good time. Should you talk when somebody's trying to take a shower? Should you talk when somebody's trying to, help your kids with your homework? I mean, apply common sense to when is a good time. If you are going to talk about conflict and how, what was said during a conflict, and your partner, spouse, friend, mother, father, son, daughter, whoever this is, just hangs up and had a rough phone conversation, now's not the time to bring up, hey, let's discuss our conflict. So, use a little bit of wisdom for when you want to bring things up. And that involves planning ahead. So, maybe you want to make a cup of coffee and bring coffee and say, hey, is now a good time? Are you in a good space to talk about the argument we had an hour ago? Because it's really bothering me. And, I'd like to really bring it out into here's a spot of tea. Here's a cup of coffee we can, have and drink. Or now it's winter, maybe a cup of hot chocolate. Obviously you're using I statements. You're not using your you statements. So instead of, you did this and you didn't do this and whatever, I felt hurt when I heard, I felt disrespected, or I thought, or, make sure you're using I statements. We're not blaming, we're not minimizing, we're not justifying, we're not deflecting, we're not excusing. We're coming to the table with vulnerability, respect, and with, like I said, the mindset to similar goals. We want this to work out, and we want to together attack the problem, not have the problem. One of the big things is listen, eye contact. Do not go into a conversation to talk about conflict while you're watching TV, while you're talking on the phone, while you're tweeting or playing games on your, cordless, whatever. Give somebody the respect of eye contact. Let them know you're listening. Maybe even mirror back some of the things you're saying, Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that you feel very disrespected. You feel as if I'm taking advantage of your time by not putting the cup in the sink because, obviously you're helping our child with homework, or you have an email to get to. And so you feel as if I'm completely stomping over, your respect. Maybe even mirror back to them what they're saying. Nod your head, let them know. Okay, eye contact. Yes, I hear you and I get it. This goes back to acknowledging and validating, acknowledging and validating what they're saying. Talk through everything. Oftentimes there's deeper issues than what the argument is about. Maybe you did something that triggered a past trauma in them, and they're bringing up something about today when it has nothing to do with today. It's a past something. So really talk it through with the mindset, goal, and intention. I want to grow a deeper bond with this person. I want to come out stronger. I want to come out of this more connected with this person. If one person leaves the argument feeling like they failed, then the relationship failed. Both people need to come out winning somehow. It doesn't mean you have to agree, but make sure you acknowledge and validate and hear and discuss. Make sure that if you are arguing and you need some time away, you just don't walk away, because somebody may have like a personality attachment style where walking away makes them feel very unsafe. So I don't care if you walk away. I don't mind if you need a break. And as a matter of fact, I encourage and recommend you take a break, but give your spouse, your partner, your friend, your neighbor, your parent, your whomever, the courtesy of saying, I'm getting dysregulated. I need about 10 minutes, or I'm getting dysregulated and I don't want to say anything that I'm going to regret. So I need an hour. So walk away, whatever, but give them the courtesy of what your intentions are. And you can even say, I don't know how much time I need, but I need to walk away now. Fine, but you're just not walking away, shutting down that conversation, making the other person feel as if, oh, you're done, so I have to be done with you. Give them the courtesy of saying, I'm overwhelmed, I'm dysregulated, I need to go take a time away or a time. If you have to come to the table with an apology, and I would suggest both parties apologize no matter what, because you're not apologizing necessarily that you did something wrong, although if you did, you need to, but you're apologizing for any of the negative experience that you participated in. Okay, now a true apology is not, I'm sorry you feel that way. A true apology is not, I'm sorry you took it a true apology is ownership, relatability, accountability, emotionality. So this would be a decent apology. Okay, I understand when I didn't put my cup in the sink. Immediately you were triggered because your mind, body, and soul felt, geez, I asked this person to do something, and this person says they love me, and I'm requesting something that means a lot to me, and they didn't show me love. They didn't show me respect by simply putting the dish in the sink. And I could actually see where that bothered you. I could see where that dysregulated you. I could see where that maybe offended you. And I want to let you know that was not my intention, and that was not my goal. And I want to take full responsibility for that. I am going to absolutely make sure that not only do I put my cup in the sink after this discussion, but I prioritize every time I get something to eat or drink, I'm going to put my cup into the sink. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do the dishes for the rest of the week. I am very sorry. I'm very sorry. And I hope that you are hearing my sincere apology. That's a sincere apology, not, I'm sorry you felt that way, or, well, I can't help how you feel, but I'm sorry. No. Give the apology some weight, some context. The last thing I want to say, especially because we live in a day and age of technology, a lot of people want to text nowadays. The problem with text is we don't read what people say. We read who we are. So if we're a negative person that's always attaching our own traumatized filters to a message, that's what we're going to read, number one. Number two, if somebody happens to be bad at grammar, they're not going to put in, what they need to. I mean, there's a difference between let's eat, comma, grandpa, and no comma, let's eat, grandpa. So, I mean, if somebody happens to be bad at grammar, that's going to take out, the proper context, taking out the overall message. Phone is very impersonal too. So if you're texting somebody a post-conflict discussion, it's just setting yourself up for more hurt. Now, having said that, I don't mind social media in the terms of an icebreaker. So, for example, let's just say there's an argument, face-to-face is uncomfortable, you don't know how to approach the person. You can send them an email saying, I just want to let you know I love you, and I'm going to go to the store and bring you flowers, and I hope to talk to you when I get back. Okay, fine. But you're still then ending it with a face-to-face discussion. So be careful with social media, because the last thing you want is to be on social media, whether it's your computer, checking emails, your phone, and somebody's trying to talk to you about something that's very heartfelt and meaningful, and next thing you know, an ad pops up about yummy snacks, and you click on it, and they're thinking, I'm bearing my soul to you, and you're reading about chocolate covered Cheerios. Are you serious? That's what I'm worth to you? So I would just stay off social media. All right, I hope some of these helped you out, or made you think, or at least put them in your toolbox for the next time you get into a post-conflict reconciliation discussion.